think everyone would agree that it's family. You just feel like you have a family away from home. I know when I was there in the days where the teachers really cared and would come by your room if you didn't come to class and make sure that you were doing what you needed to do. You had a lot of your faculty and our guidance counselors and advisors who were just as much a part of our lives as our parents were. They would sit and talk with us beyond what we had to do at school. You know, they were talking to us about real life stuff. And just the camaraderie. I went to a predominantly white high school. So, I mean, we definitely knew everything that we needed to know in our home. The Ebony magazines were on the coffee table, and my mom and grandmother, they all participated in sit-ins and, sat at drugstores and things of that nature when we could not. So I grew up with that identity, but to really get around others and experience it and be Black 24/7, it was just incredible. It was an incredible experience. I always talk to my kids and my wife about the experience I had being in African-American studies. There were so many things that I thought I knew, the Martin Luther King stories and the Rosa Parks stories, but getting into those other areas that we don't always get in school, it was just an amazing, eye-opening experience. And as the young lady said, the band, oh my God, the band, the culture, the frats, everything about it was just truly, truly incredible. I absolutely love college experience as well. When I got to Bowie, it was a little bit different because I was focused on just graduating, but being at Bethune for 4 years, it was just, like you said, the best part of my life. I really, really came into being and understanding what it meant for us to be Black professionals going into the workplace and just leaving a legacy.
I would have to say similar things. I mean, just during the period of the pandemic, I became so appreciative of my school for outright speaking about it. Like teachers wouldn't, gloss over it and say, oh, with everything going on. No, like they were cut to the chase to ask, how are you? How are you doing? Things like that. And I definitely appreciated just that support. I never really had it before. I would sit in the back of the classroom in high school and just breeze by, but I had nobody to call me on, my tactics that I was using. But I also would have to say, I love being in an environment where my Blackness isn't exactly taboo. Like I can come to school, in my natural state and not have to be distracted by anyone else who they're not used to it. So working at Howard now also is a big deal to me. I love the environment so much.
Just as another point, I feel as though, especially when you graduate from an HBCU or when you complete your time in HBCU, that network that you gain once you leave that space is, it's insane. I recently, transitioned to working in Ohio. And I know that once I stated that, oh yeah, I went to, Spelman or whatever HBCU may be, literally tons of people were reaching out to me, wanting to support me, wanted to give me career advice, wanted to take me out to lunch and get to know me on a personal level. And that type of network lasts with you forever, and I feel as though at HBCUs, you also get the opportunity to have a multifaceted experience that a lot of schools don't necessarily promote. I know at HBCUs, they're really promoting studying abroad, having internships every summer, right from freshman year. And that's something that a lot of people who go to PWIs don't get. And, I had an experience at Georgia Tech when I transferred over there, where it was rare for students to have an internship or to study abroad or to have a personal relationship with their professors. So going to an HBCU is an easy choice for me. And I highly recommend it for anyone else because those lessons that you learn are phenomenal.
I really loved my time at UMES, and I think really to piggyback off of what Brian said, it's that community that you get, it's that community that you build, it's the being able to be comfortable in who you are, it's meeting a whole host of different Black people from all different walks of life. It's understanding, different walks of life and different backgrounds, even within our diaspora. And I think that really gave me a better worldview of what Blackness is, what Blackness really is, and what Blackness can be and should be, and how Blackness should be portrayed and explained, here in our country. And I loved it, and I ended up with friends who are from all backgrounds. I have a pharmacist who's one of my best friends. I have a pharmacist, a businessman, a teacher. I'm an attorney. We have medical professionals. We have business, folks. We have everybody. And the fact that I'm able to call up, one of my friends and just say, hey, my kids are sick. What exactly can I give them here? It is huge. And I really credit that to going to an HBCU, having these relationships, building these relationships, and then maintaining them.
Yeah, I would say that attending an HBCU is so much more than just receiving a good education within the classroom, because you're going to get that. I know that that's one of the reasons why I loved Howard, is that I had professors who not only cared about what it was that they were teaching me, but cared about me as an individual and really helped cultivate me into the woman that I am today. And it was through that community mindset, not looking at me as just a number, but as a person, as an individual, as a change maker, that encouraged me to then build and expand my own network. And now when I walk out in the world and I present myself, I'm presenting myself as the strong, powerful Black woman that I am, and I'm encouraging so many others behind me. And I know that I would not have had that if it was not for my experience at my HBCU.
There's a lot of people that just joined us. Thank you, welcome for joining the Why at HBCU. We have an array of panelists from several different HBCUs. So I'm going to ask if you guys could introduce your name again and the university in which you came from.
Well,
Okay, hi, I'm Brianna, and I attended Kappa State University. There, I majored in early childhood education, and I minored in dance. And I was also a band dancer.
hello, my name is Anissa
Oh,
Thomas.
go ahead. Sorry.
Pardon.
No, go right ahead.
Oh, thank you. Well, my name is Anissa Thomas. I was a psych pre-med major at Hampton University, originally hailing from Silver Spring, Maryland.
My name is Brian Randolph. I am a graduate of Bowie State University, but I got my college start at Bethune-Cookman University in Daytona Beach, majoring in communications and media.
And my name is Cicely Randolph, and I graduated in 1995 at Tuskegee University, or from Tuskegee University, with a degree, a Bachelor of Science degree in computer science.
Good evening. My name is Cliff Glover. I'm a 2012 graduate of the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. I graduated with a history degree.
Hello, my name is Najma Thomas, and I'm a 2020 graduate from Spelman College and Georgia Tech. That's that dual degree program, and where I majored in physics and mechanical engineering.
Hi, everyone. My name is Carolyn Williams. I am a spring 2021 graduate from Howard University, where I majored in legal communications, minored in English, and I served as the captain on the women's bowling team.
Thank you. So those who have joined us, please, if you have any questions for our panelists, type it in the chat and they'll gladly answer any and all of your questions. We do have one that came in so far, and the question is, what HBC would you recommend? Oh, and why?
UMES, of course.
I mean, I'm biased, so Kappa State.
I mean, I think we're right. I think we're all biased.
Right, right.
You know, particularly for you and me, and you know, I can talk about my school. You know, I think particularly for UMES, it's close. It was only 2.5 hours away from I grew up in Silver Spring, and you know, for me, you know, one of the great programs that UMES and actually Coppin and Bowie and why am I forgetting the fourth HBCU, Morgan, that they offer is, you know, if you want to become an attorney, I took advantage of a program that is only offered to HBCUs in Maryland, and it's an attorney pipeline program. And I was a part of that program. It was through the University of Baltimore School of Law, and you know, they put you through an LSAT program. They administer the LSAT, and then if you get a certain score on your LSAT, you get a free ride to law school. And that was a program that, again, is only offered. So okay, if you want to be an attorney, I'd offer all of the Maryland HBCUs in that case. But certainly with UMES, I just enjoyed it. It was a bit out in the middle of nowhere, which I think was good because it forced me to study. It forced me to still of course had a lot of fun, but we were really out in the middle of nowhere, and it forced us really to study, to be in our books, and to focus on, you know, what I needed to focus on. And I think for me, that was really important and really good for me, because if I was, you know, say in the middle of a city and hustle and bustle and everything's around, you know, I'm not sure I would have achieved all that I've achieved now.
Yeah, I think that all of us would root for our own home teams, of course, because my first option is always going to be Howard. I'm always going to say Howard. However, through us answering the previous question, you can see that really wherever it is that you go that fits you, there will be a common denominator of similar shared experiences at each one of these institutions. And I think that that's one of the aspects of camaraderie that may happen on individual campuses, but you'll see throughout different universities, is that if you attend an HBCU, you're gonna have support from the rest of the network of HBCUs. So I can enter a room and say, oh yes, I went to Howard, and somebody could say, oh, I attended Coppin, and we're still going to connect and be here because some of those shared experiences. So I know I'm always going to say Howard first, but if someone was looking at an option of HBCUs, I'm going to push you to pick whichever one fits your specific needs. And that could be different for each person. So you really have to think about what it is that you want out of your experience and the location of it.
Thank
Yes,
you. We have a, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. I definitely agree. I know for me, when I actually got accepted into Bethune-Cookman, but because I didn't want to go far away. Two, I'm a homebody, and I operate more in a smaller class environment. So Coppin was a little bit small, with a smaller campus for me, and it was perfect for me. So you have to look to see what the HBCU offers, how big the HBCU is. Are you willing to be in a class that has over 50 students, or would you prefer a classroom that has about 15 or 20 students, and so forth. So, and then so my advice is for you all to just do your research, look to see which one has your major that you want to major in, and has the best program that will fit you, and so forth. So it all depends on you.
So we have a question, and it is, did anyone study abroad?
Yeah, so I can start off. So during my time at Spelman, I actually had the chance to study abroad for a semester at the University of Ghana, and loved my experience. number one thing I would appreciate the most about that experience, number one, is that Spelman afforded me the opportunity by having such a strong study abroad program where they really encourage students, especially as they approach their junior year, to take that opportunity and to travel across the world. But then additionally, when I went to Ghana, it was another experience of what I saw, of how I perceived Blackness to be. And it, you're in the motherland at that point. I mean, you can't get any blacker than that. But additionally, I think it was really cool because before studying abroad, we actually had to take another class at Spelman that prepared us to understand the significance of studying in Africa and studying the roots in your history in Ghana. And, I know a lot of HBCUs now are really pushing students to take that opportunity to study abroad. Additionally, I had the chance to even go to Chile while at Spelman. So we were everywhere. But it was really awesome to go to Chile with a group of 25 other Spelmanites and to learn a culture that can sometimes be a little different from ours, but still have an appreciation and understand how we, as members of the African diaspora, fit across the world.
Thank you for that. We have another question. I'm a graduate of Morris Brown College in Georgia Tech. What is the dual degree program like today? And how would you compare or contrast Spelman with Georgia Tech?
Okay, good question. Okay, so again, I did the dual degree program. Actually recently graduated this past August in partnership with Spelman and Georgia Tech. And first off, shout out to Morris Brown, okay? AUC love right there. But one thing I would say about the dual degree program is that, and for those, actually, let me start again. For those who don't know what the dual degree program is, it's actually a partnership that a lot of HBCUs have with other engineering institutions because they may not have a full ABET accredited program, but it allows you to get 2 degrees within the course of 5 years. So at Spelman, I majored in physics, and then I went over to Georgia Tech and majored in mechanical engineering. But one thing I will say is that they're different institutions, okay? They are very different between Spelman and Georgia Tech. I feel as though at Spelman, I had a lot more classroom support. I had a lot more professor love. I would say I had a lot more hands-on experiences, especially within the classroom. A lot of the times we would have a professor and say, get up and whiteboard, draw out the problems, and we work together to go through solutions. Whereas at Georgia Tech, we were really a number. And going into such a different environment was difficult at first, but because I went with such a strong group of other people from the AUC, from the Atlanta University Center, it made my transition into a PWI much easier because I had such a solid support system. So realistically, there are some stark differences between HBCUs and PWIs, but one of the biggest things, again, that you'll gain is that network, and that's invaluable.
Thank you. I have another question. What did each of you major in and why?
So I can start us off because my journey to my major was a little interesting. I entered college thinking that I was going to be a biomedical engineer major. Not at all. I'm not very good with math, that part of my brain thinking like that. It doesn't work. But I thought that that's what I wanted to do because I felt like that's what was kind of forced on me. So through communicating with some people at Howard, which is why I'm so thankful for that community, they encouraged me to really think about what it is that I want to do with my life. What am I passionate about? And through doing some soul searching and some digging, I discovered this small cohort within the School of Communications. That's the Strategic Legal and Management Communication Department. And I concentrated in legal because I wanted to have knowledge and understanding of the law, but I also wanted to really hone in on my interpersonal communication skills and getting to be able to understand people in a different way. So my degree program combined 3 or 4 different degrees together to help me get a well-rounded education. So my long degree title is, my major is in strategic, legal, and management communications with a concentration in legal. And then I minored in English with aspirations of hopefully utilizing that degree to be able to speak on behalf of underprivileged and underrepresented communities. Howard really encouraged me to want to give back to people who look like me, who have experiences like me, who have felt like they have not been noticed, had a voice, or been seen. So I'm very thankful for that. It's a very long degree title, very long. My degree shows it, but so worth it.
I majored in communications simply because I grew up in the video and radio era of, music was coming out and we were starting to see it more. And always interested in speaking in front of people. I did a lot of FBLA and stuff like that in high school. So as the young lady was just saying, some things are kind of forced on you. And all of my teachers, you should be a great speaker, you're a good orator. So in the back of my mind, I was always thinking about, speech communications. But when I got to college and I started making friends with upperclassmen, that kind of showed, it gave me a new light, or more to it than what I thought. And so I got a chance to work at the radio station. I got a chance to do announcements at the basketball games and the football games, and even announced for the band a couple of times. I was like, I love this. I like the interaction with the crowd. I like the people, and I'm enjoying it. So I decided to just go into it, all the way and do communications. Because there were 2 degrees. You could do communications, which encompasses, written media, radio, television, the whole 9, or you could just go into certain areas of communication, which is like just speech or just radio or broadcasting or television. So I wanted to do it all. So I did that. That's basically what I did. But it was, I would encourage you to just find out now. I think someone just said that whatever you're really passionate about. And when we talk about passion, we're saying something that you will wake up and want to do for free. If you didn't get paid to do it, something that you love that much that you would do it for free, that's what you should pursue. Now, of course, we want to make money, but that passion will drive you to those opportunities to get paid. But you want to do something that you're really going to enjoy, because the downside to getting to school and not really knowing what you're going to do, I don't want to say you're wasting your time, but you have that, you do get that the 2 years or so to kind of feel your way and say, what do I want to major in? But it's game time. Once you come back as a junior, you better be getting into your major or close to it, because that money's going to run out. One of the things we do at Bethune, they always say, we're going to get it in 4. So we want to make sure that, you get it, get your degree, get up out of there, look to your left, look to your right. One of those people may not be there when you finish. So make sure that you're grinding and doing all that you can, but find out what you're passionate about and pursue that. And you'll find others who are just as passionate that will encourage you and push you along the way as well.
In that part, I definitely agree with that. I attended Hampton University as a psych pre-med major, and actually going to college, I would not consider myself an over-ambitious person at all. If anything, I had no idea where I wanted to go. I just know I wanted the DR in front of my name. I didn't know how I was going to get it. But at that point, I saw it as so refreshing to see that my peers, we were all going to make it regardless. There's enough space at the top for all of us. And I didn't exactly get that experience in high school. But the reason why the reason why I'm going to be a doctor is because, thank you, is because every major disorder that runs in my family and many families that I know of in my network and whatnot, all stem from the brain. And that was the most perplexing thing for me. How can one thing have so much power over everyone's existence, everyone's lives, and things like that? And I personally love the field of research, because if you are a neurodivergent, extroverted type of person like me who always needs or who is goal oriented, I would highly, highly, highly recommend science because there's so many subfields that you will find your place. Even if you don't know, I had no idea that I would end up working with the HIV population or substance use disorder population. I had no idea. I just knew that science was the place for creative thinking people like me. So if that answers the question, then yeah.
So when I went to Coppin, I majored in early childhood education. I minored in dance. However, I ended up transferring. I did, I attended HBCU, but I ended up transferring and coming back to DC and I ended up attending Trinity University, and there I majored in and graduated. I got my bachelor's in human relations. First at Coppin, I chose early childhood education because I love children. To this day, I still love children. And I wanted to be a teacher. So, and it's so funny, I actually ended up becoming a
I think we lost her, but I'll continue and I'll jump in until Brianna comes back. So I was a history major. I started off as a social studies teaching education major, thinking that I would love to be a social studies teacher. I loved social studies. I loved history. I loved that was my thing. And I had this general interest in law, and a lot of social studies has to do with law and the legal field. And so I ended up tearing my ACL like the day before I went to college. So I then became very fascinated in the sciences. And it was so fascinating because the UMES has a PhD program in physical therapy. And so the physical therapy department took me in, I became a case study, and then they worked on me and did the physical therapy for, I think, a semester or two in lieu of surgery. And so that fascinated me. And I said, all right, great. I know what I'm going to do now. I'm going to help people, heal their injuries. So I switched over to exercise science major, which is sort of like kinesiology. And then I realized, oh, I got to do a lot of science, and I don't really like science. Sorry, Anissa. But I said I can't do any science. This is it's just not for me. And I kind of focused back on law. I really, really, really wanted to get into the legal field in some way, shape, or form. And so I really, thought about what is, what's going to prepare me for law school, and what's going to prepare me to be an attorney. Well, there's a lot of reading, there's a lot of writing, and there's a lot of looking back at legal precedent. There's a lot of looking back at history, and then essentially interpreting that. And then and so with that, I decided, all right, I'm just going to become a straight history major. And that really did help me for law school, because again, in law school, I read and I wrote and I interpreted history. And so it was a very seamless transition. And then I had a lot of English courses as well, for my undergrad, which helped me to be able to clearly write and help me with the grammar and everything else. So that's really how I ended up. That's how I ended up a history major, and definitely glad I did it. One of the things though too is realistically is thinking in my junior year when I switched back, it's like, well, what do you do with a history degree? And the reality is you're going to kind of get into history or work at the Smithsonian or something like that, or you're going to go to get a graduate degree. And so that's a risk that I took, and it certainly paid off.
I'll also add another perspective. So when I was in high school, I could not stand physics. I mean, I hated it. I hated the formulas. I hated I just hate everything about it. I couldn't enough. getting a degree in it. And that was partially because once I got to Spelman, that was the first time that someone actually explained what the purpose of physics is and related it to real world examples. And that's something that they don't do a lot at institutions or, schools where they, give you a set of formulas and say, okay, go solve. They don't really make it relatable, especially a field that can be complex sometimes. And so when I got to Spelman, I was like, physics, okay, I'm rocking with it just a little bit. But that was also my first time getting the chance to see a Black physicist. I've never seen one in my life. And that was the turnaround, that key moment for me, where I started to picture myself as a Black physicist. And that's why it's important to go to HBCUs, because sometimes you'll get that first impression of what someone who looks like you is currently doing within the field that you never saw yourself in the first place. And that visibility is super key. And that's why, we're at this panel today, because I'm sure that we've all on this panel have had situations like that where we saw a Black lawyer, Black doctor, Black artist, Black dancer, et cetera, et cetera. So I always ride for my HBCU.
Okay, so we talked a lot about the education. Let's go into the social aspect. What did you guys do at the HBCUs that you attended, and why did you choose that fraternity, sorority, organization, whatever it is that you did at the HBCU? Let's hear about the life.
Ooh,
Okay, so
go ahead, Brianna.
So I can start. At my HBCU, I was a band dancer. I chose to be I was a band dancer the whole 4 years. Dance was my minor, so I love dance. I still love dance now. I teach it. I'm a teacher, so and I also am an IOTA Sweetheart. IOTA Sweetheart are the we're now officially an organization. At the time when I joined, we were an auxiliary to the IOTAs, Iota Phi Theta, which is in fraternity, a part of the Divine Nine. So that is what I did. I chose to do Iota Sweetheart. Honestly, at Kappa at the time, all of the other sororities were suspended, unfortunately. And I wanted to do something, and I wanted to be a part of something. And I'm like, okay, we have the Kappa Sweethearts, and to me, they just kind of, I didn't really want to be a Kappa Sweetheart, because I'm gonna be honest, to me, they kind of look more so like groupies. No, nothing to Kappa Sweethearts. I love them. I have friends who are Kappa Sweethearts, but the Iota Sweethearts at the time looked more. They were more so. It was more so a family, and they were also a part of like doing things at Kappa, and they were a part of things. Like you saw their face a lot, and that's what I wanted to be a part of. But like I said, the organization, the sororities were all suspended, so that was the best thing for me to do, and I love it. I'm still very much so active. Kappa just had their homecoming last weekend, and we had a blast. So, yeah.
So I focused a lot on the academics. I was in the honors program, and I was on a scholarship in undergrad, and so I had to keep a certain GPA. And so for me, it was I was immediately though tapped to lead in a number of ways, and so I was the president of the Honor Society, of the Honors Program for 3 years. I ended up being the president in our dorm, the Residence Life Program for a little while, and then I was a part of the Phi Kappa Phi, which is an honors society as well. And but I still attended, everything on campus as well. Went to the parties, went to went to homecoming, went to a lot of basketball games, the volleyball games, rooted for the teams, and just had a blast. Just had a lot of fun, and had as much fun as possible. And that's, to me, really where I was able to find that camaraderie with generally with everyone, on campus, is just getting out, meeting folks, going to doing different activities, and the like, and just really had a blast doing that.
Yeah, so just to add on, so I think it's, no secret, HBCU students, we love to have fun. But I think that the key thing about HBCU students is that although we love to, stroll and, have fun and party, we also are the type of people that will have like 17,000 different things going on. And I'm sure you've heard that connection thus far on the panel. I know for myself, I pledged Delta Sigma Theta, at Spelman. And then also I was the president of the National Society of Black Engineers. So we at HBCUs tend to have a lot of responsibility outside of the social aspect, but there's such a multifaceted level with it. Excuse me, I'm losing my words today. It's a long day, but there's a level of multifacetedness with it where we can have fun and still handle our own.
I wanted to chime in quickly because Cliff reminded me of something. I never supported volleyball or any of these other sports. I was totally football, basketball. When you go to HBCU, if they're playing horseshoes, you're going to get involved. It's just that camaraderie and the family, and you coming out. Some of your classmates may play a sport that you didn't know anything about, but because they're your classmate and you want to support them, you're going to go to that game. So, or your roommate, yeah. And a lot of times you would do stuff that you just normally wouldn't do. I was not even in the band, remotely in the band. And all my friends were band members. Same with fraternities, sororities, because I was the one on the mic at the games announcing and stuff like that. You would get cool with them because they want you to say something about their organization. So you get to experience life totally differently than I would think you would at a predominantly white school. I believe that because there is always that connection. There's something that's going to pull you in and connect you. And then the school size is sometimes a lot smaller. And I want to emphasize that too. Class size, school size, a lot smaller. Now your business may get around campus faster, so make sure you you keep it tight. But man, it is nothing like, I'm telling you, it's really family oriented, and you will meet some of the people, you'll be friends with them for life. And it's amazing because I think if we were anywhere else, we wouldn't connect. We probably would not be able to know that we have the same likes, dislikes, whatever. But it's something about the camaraderie of a campus, a small campus, an HBCU. Your teachers encourage you to go. Everyone's telling you. It was like this equipment. I'm going to stop. You couldn't even get in the game if you had on somebody else's paraphernalia. And when Cicely and I were dating, she was at Tuskegee. I was at Bethune still. I wore her hoodie one night to a game. They would not let me in. I'm like, I'm on the mic. I'm announcing. So it is serious. And when you get that, it's almost like your real family. Everything. We don't just let anybody in our family reunion. You say you're my cousin, but I don't really know you like that. So, there's just that camaraderie. And I think that's something that I would like to, pass on to you guys tonight who are thinking about going to an HBCU. You really are going to feel connected, from the very first time you're on that campus. You really are.
And one thing I want to mention is I was similar to Cliff. I did not really go and party. And at Tuskegee, it wasn't much around. It was just a school. Unless you had a car or some type of vehicle, that was the only way you were going to get to those places that was deep, deep down in some undercut places where you probably don't want to be by yourself at night anyways. You go with a group. So I didn't do a lot of partying or anything, but I did get involved in the concert or the Golden Voices concert choir. So I was in the choir and I loved it. It was the best experience for me because I did have that sense of camaraderie. I became a section leader for my section because I was a second soprano, and I just loved the joy that I got from singing and all of that kind of stuff. We traveled as well. So if there's something that you might not want to be in a sorority or a fraternity, but there's some type of organization that you can get in on campus to use your gifts and talents that you have, gospel choir or just regular concert choir or a band, or something like that.
Yeah,
jazz band, anything like that. Those are good opportunities to do that as well. I loved going to the football games. I went to some of the basketball games, loved the pep rallies because I was all about that. And that's how I had my fun. I didn't really party that much, but I experienced and had fun in the different areas that I was in.
There's something for everybody. It's just a uniqueness that you'll find something. If someone's going to have a big whist club or what they play spades, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So there's always something. There's always something that you can get into and enjoy your experience a little bit better.
Thank you for that. We have a question that came through, and the next question is, what do you currently do for your professions?
I'm currently a housing case manager in DC. I'm also a reading tutor, so I still work with children.
I am currently a research.
Go ahead. No, you got it, Nisa. Go ahead.
Sorry, I gotta get this timing right. But I am currently a researcher at a neuropsychopharmacology laboratory in the Department of Anatomy at the Howard University.
You know.
I've been waiting so long to say that.
Yeah. I worked for the federal government, it's amazing because my communications degree has afforded me a lot of opportunities to do things from the customer service perspective. And I work with veterans, so you have to be able to communicate effectively with them. I love my job. It's some days up, some days down, but it's very rewarding. And I believe a lot of the tutorage and a lot of teaching that I got at the HBC just helped me to be able to deal with an array of people, because sometimes you see nothing against new graduates or people graduating from college, but they've only been experiencing one side of life. And when they come there, it's really difficult to kind of get in. And at HBCUs, we're a melting pot. There's a lot more than just us there. You got people from India, you got people from Africa, we got people from the Bahamas, and you got some of our like brothers and sisters coming there now. So, you get a mix. You really get a mix, and I think it helps you in your job.
Yeah, and I work for the federal government for the Department of Veterans Affairs. I'm a supervisor, so I work with veterans, employees who work directly with veterans. I supervise them. But it's interesting because I graduated with a computer science degree from Tuskegee. That's not what I wanted. I was like Brianna, I loved kids, so I wanted to go into education. So I got my master's in education, elementary education at the University of Maryland, College Park. So then I flipped the whole thing. And then now I'm not even doing that. I taught for a little bit and now I'm supervising with the VBA. So just want to tell you that though you might start out one way, it's okay if your journey takes you in another direction as well. So don't be afraid to change jobs, change careers. If you want to do something that you love, then it's okay if you happen to veer off what you originally had planned.
Thank you. So we are going to be ending at 7:30 and we have about 7 minutes left. So I just want to, if you guys have anything that you want to ask or end with, please.
I just kind of want to piggyback from Brian when he was talking about how an HBCU is very family oriented. Going from an HBCU to a PWI, predominantly white institution, which is Trinity, the atmosphere was completely different. It was completely different. I went from this family oriented institution to an institution that I literally was just only there just to go to class and go home. Like it wasn't, I didn't get that family atmosphere like I did at Kappa, and that's one thing that I miss. And I will 100%, 1000% recommend HBCU.
So I'll I'll just say, I think that, again, where I am now, and for those who are kind of new, I'm an attorney now. I'm an attorney, work at a national law firm, in Baltimore. And, for me, having the opportunity, knowing that there are folks out there who are looking out for us, and willing to create programs, pipeline programs to every profession, to any profession that you're thinking about, there's likely a program for that that's available. And so having the opportunity to go to law school for free, and to now, be a practicing attorney, I think you're going to get that, from an HBCU, frankly, and you're not going to get that from a PWI, because those resources, frankly, aren't needed. And so, people are thinking about us. People are thinking about, how do we increase engineers? How do we increase the number of Black doctors? How do we increase the number of professionals in STEM? How do we increase the number of attorneys, Black attorneys in our field? And they are looking right at HBCUs, and they're looking at, and that, because that's the place to be, that's the place to go, and that's where you're going to find, frankly, a lot of Black folks who are willing to do that and want to get into those professions. And so, I would certainly recommend, going to an HBCU, any HBCU. I think it's going to be a benefit. Yeah.
I'll also chime in. I think that, a lot of you all are in the space today because you know about HBCUs, or at least you've heard about HBCUs and have heard some of the impact. But if there's anything we can leave you all with today, is just that HBCUs are invaluable. They really are. A lot of the lessons that we've learned, a lot of the experiences that we've had, we can take literally into any space in the world and still be able to adapt because of our core HBCU experiences. From a personal standpoint, our father, my Anissa and I, we went to an HBCU, went to Grambling. So we already kind of knew of the impact of HBCUs, but getting to go there ourselves and getting to really experience what Blackness looks like from an educational standpoint and from a social standpoint is something that you can't pay for. That money doesn't buy that. That's something that HBCUs provide, in that it's really important for us as, young Black professionals to really gain a good foundation at HBCU to take us into any space and any atmosphere.
And I just want to remind everyone that is with us tonight, if you have any questions, please type it in the chat. I'll gladly ask our panelists so they can answer your questions.
Are we restating which schools we went to? If so, I went to Hampton University.
Spelman College.
University of Maryland, Eastern Shore.
Tuskegee University.
Bethune-Cookman University, as well as Bowie State University.
I went to Kappa State University.
And I am a graduate of Howard University, alumni.
Were there any other questions in the chat?
I do have one question that came through, and it says, for the young lady who majored in physics, what do you do for your career?
Great question. So I know we have no time left, but I'm a supply chain engineer now with Procter & Gamble, as well as a manager over there. But I'm actually in the process of applying for my PhD in engineering. So that's what I'm doing right now. But yeah, physics can take you anywhere. It's one of those majors where you can literally go into any field and be okay.
All right, well, I think that is it for tonight. If there's anything else you would like to add, we have 1 more minute. I want to thank everyone for joining us, especially our panelists. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. This was a very, very great meeting. And thank you again.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank
For having
you.
us.
HBCU.
And good luck to everyone that is applying to an HBCU.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Do your research.
Yes,
Do
good
your
luck.
research.